So we're starting with what I can only call limo configuration. We're starting with one of us in the back, which is something we don't normally do. We're doing it this time because part of the point of this big BMW XM is this where I am, the M Lounge. Welcome to the M Lounge. See a little lighting? Ooh, M Lounge. That's where I'm at.
I'm already going too fast.
Of course you are.
So this is the XM, the 2023 XM. That I have a newly formed hypothesis after driving this, because it's very easy to see a car and just think, hate it, I'm going to discount it completely. But I think this is one of the most entertaining vehicles you can buy currently.
Really?
Maybe ever.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive.
Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
Shall we start with power?
Okay.
I didn't expect this to have quite as much power as it does.
Yes, it has quite a bit.
It's a twin-turbo V8. It has 483 horsepower, and that V8 engine by itself only gets 14 miles to the gallon. Except that this is the first hybrid true M performance vehicle.
Yes.
The first electrified M car ever. Vehicle? SUV?
Yeah.
It's an SUV.
Officially an M car, and it's also a hybrid. It's the first time both of those have happened, yes.
So you get 483 horsepower gas engine, twin turbo. Then you get 194 horsepower electric motor for a combined total of 644 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. And that's a lot, but it's still less than the Mercedes AMG GLE 63S that we really like.
Yes, it is. And it's
that
also
has 627 pound-feet of torque.
But it's also
more
than the special edition they're making of this. Did you see that one?
the red line red?
No, it's label red.
Label red, that's it.
Which is about as contrived and awful as you can possibly think of. That gets you into the mid-sevens of horsepower and torque.
735 horsepower and torque.
Yes. The argument there is more is always better. But I mean, this is already $165,000. And you're right. The AMGs and also the Porsche Cayenne turbos and the Lamborghini Urus are all more powerful than this. Now, granted, the Lamborghini is significantly more expensive, but for $165,000, you can get yourself a lightning-quick Mercedes product or Porsche product that may actually be a little bit faster than this, but it doesn't discount the fact that this is still wicked fast.
Yeah, it's not like this thing is slow.
No!
You will leave everyone, and the best part about it is it's so ugly, it sort of repels other cars.
It has a force field.
And people kind of leave you alone.
It has a force field.
Until you blow past them. They'll try to get close to you wondering, what is that thing? And they'll kind of snug up to your rear and like, XM, what is that? And you just leave them. That's what I did to somebody yesterday. I knew he was getting close, and it was a little too close. He was trying to see the car, and okay, I want you to observe it. And then I just decided to put everything in sport, and I left him. And I think he was scratching his head. So this is very interesting because it has active roll stabilization.
Yes.
And like any true M car, it has steel springs, not air suspension.
Which is very interesting that everybody else in this market does air suspension.
Yeah.
BMW defiantly does not.
So that makes it a very true M vehicle, M performance vehicle.
Yeah.
But even in comfort setting, that makes for a very stiff ride. And for somebody who's relaxing in the M lounge back there, how does it feel?
You know what? This feels aggressive back here still. I can feel, I mean, you're going over like, manhole covers or whatever. I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have that kind of floating ride. We recently had the Genesis G90 and the Lexus LS. And those are air ride cars. And they just absorb everything. This doesn't. Unless you're going fast on a freeway that is smooth, and then you suddenly lose all awareness of your speed.
I lose awareness at all times. I'm just, that can't possibly be the number.
I totally agree with you.
That's not the number.
No, it absolutely doesn't feel like it's the number.
BMW sandbags on power, and they sandbag on the numbers, and they sandbag on all the numbers.
You have to think that the gauge is wrong. I agree, yes.
No. Okay, so I've got the configuration pulled up. I'm in comfort mode with a more effort to suit you, sir.
Wow,
to make sure you're comfortable back there.
I have pillows. I have little extra pillows. See? I'm on one of them. I'm little extra pillows.
You
I've got decent leg room.
Since you're by yourself.
I could. You're right. These seats are kind of cupped back here, and they actually kind of flow into the door panel. And because they're heated seats, all of that stuff gets heated all the way onto the door panel here. God forbid, when it was cold outside, any part of me be cold. Solved in the M Lounge. And you could change the color to a different color. If I don't like the rose color.
Oh yes.
On startup, it's the actual M colors.
That's true. It's that prism faceted roof that I really, really like. It's not a sunroof. I thought at first, this thing must roll back. How does that roll back?
It doesn't.
How does it? It doesn't.
It just looks that way.
And the LED lights, 100 LED lights that will actually ring with a phone call, or they'll warn you if you're opening the door into oncoming traffic. They're sort of like a warning light, but they're soothing, and it's all part of the experience.
It's the M Disco back here, I'm telling you.
Disco
it's just,
lounge.
Yeah, it's like a smoking lounge back here. It's ridiculous.
You should be wearing a smoking jacket.
I should, but we do the t-shirt
properly
thing.
Dressed.
Yeah.
Well, so you'll notice, since I'm in comfort everything up here on the instrument panel, it's not like the ride really changed because it isn't air suspension.
True.
So it's a very stiff ride when you're in comfort mode.
There's only so much they can change. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay. All right.
For a vehicle that weighs 6,000 pounds.
That's key.
It doesn't feel like it. It is the steel springs up there, but it's also this huge bracket. Many car companies will do a strut tower brace, which does stiffen things up. This has to be a plasma cut sheet steel bracket.
It's a massive piece.
It's huge, and it ties everything together, and it makes the front of the car feel like it's one piece, and the entire SUV feels very light. It shouldn't feel this light with the assist and the steel springs and that front end just screwed down. It's got this weird light feeling to it.
It feels surprisingly lighter than that 6,500 pound number would suggest. This feels like a mid 4,000s, which is still very heavy, by the way. Still very heavy.
For an SUV, that's pretty normal.
I mean, that exactly. That's kind of what you would expect for something like this, and that's kind of what it feels like is normal SUV weight, and then you look at the weight number and you go, it does not feel that big.
Therefore, when you go to sport, really what it's starting to do is integrate the active roll stabilization, which is an electric motor, 48-volt electric motor that controls each side, front and rear, that roll stiffness. So when you're going through corners, it's constantly calculating that, whether you're in comfort or sport. But then BMW says when you're in a straight line, it actually decouples each side, so it's actively suppressing bumps on one side of the vehicle versus another.
So they don't transfer. It's disconnecting your roll bars so that the things that it hits doesn't transfer, which is interesting. I mean, that's
spectacular. That's what contributes to this light feeling.
And it's also how they're getting around not putting air suspension on this car.
Yes.
They're trying to give you an air suspension style isolation without actually going that route, and this is their solve, which is very interesting.
It's far stiffer, and it feels that way. It feels very on edge, even in comfort mode, but it also makes it a true M performance vehicle.
Okay,
which I do appreciate, because if you're going to do this, it can't really go from soft to really full track focused, even though Mercedes does a really good job of that recipe.
Porsche does as well, yeah.
I like that a lot. So that this power is absolutely astounding. It takes a beat, and then using the automatic transmission, 8 speeds, and that electric motor is buried deep inside of the transmission, you just rocket off into the sunset. What's so confusing is a vehicle this blunt and with a front end that is precisely vertical and huge.
Yes.
How is this thing that quick?
Yeah, agreed. I mean,
How?
this is just under 4 seconds 0 to 60. Now, to keep coming back to the competition is in the low 3s, which is crazy to think about.
And those are also fast.
But this feels every bit as fast as anything you've ever been in. That's the thing that's really surprising about it. It like gathers itself for a second and then is gone.
It really does,
and there is a lot of anger and noise, and it has such a menacing look about it. To what you said earlier, people do kind of go, I don't know what that is, but I'm getting out of the way. No matter how you feel about current BMW styling, which is, shall we just say, controversial?
It's controversial.
If you'd like an XM or any BMW, you can find it on Auto Tempest. Right now you go autotempest.com/everyday. You can look up whatever parameter. You could probably type in ugly BMW and find something. I mean, the truth is, the ability to drill down is amazing on Auto Tempest.
Yes.
And they support all of these test drive videos. You can go straight to dealers and find an XM through Auto Tempest, or you can go back to when BMWs were attractive, and you could find one of those on Auto Tempest as well.
Make sure you go to autotempest.com/everyday and they'll know we sent you. This is less about, even though it's got the nice end lounge that you're enjoying back there, it's less about being driven in than being a performance vehicle, and it's still focused on the driver, which I do like, and it actually is pretty entertaining to drive. The good part is that we're inside it and everyone else has to look at it.
You're right. We saved ourselves for sure.
I feel sorry for all of you people that have to look at this thing, but that's just it. Here's my hypothesis. Because this is so opposing to conventional design thinking, and
wow, you're easing your way into that water, aren't you?
Maybe controversial in terms of styling, that everybody will wonder, what is that thing?
Yes.
Parked, rolling.
Yes.
Everybody's going to either roll alongside it, or when it's parked, just kind of ask you, what is that thing?
Totally.
Why does it exist?
Yes. And these are all valid
How?
questions, by the way.
And then when you drop on them the performance stats, much less invite them for a drive and then show them how nimble, how quick this thing is, it's astounding. And then they'll wonder even more. They'll just kind of be like, what is this thing? It cost how much?
Yes.
It's so luxurious
It does what
inside.
now? Yes.
I'm shocked. So therefore, by being so controversial on the outside, it's going to make people come up to you and ask you what it is, and you're going to get into conversation, and therefore, it's going to be very entertaining for you, the owner, to have this.
Interesting, okay.
It's actually really entertaining to drive at all times, just in comfort mode. When you put it in sport, go even faster. It's an M car.
Yeah, it is.
Of course it can
is.
do it.
Yeah.
The feats, the abilities that this thing have seem pretty deep. They're not endless, but they seem pretty deep with huge wheels and tires and tons of grip and lots of power. You can start to do things that sports cars previously did.
That's what they certainly have aimed for. I mean, they have really
Amazing.
tried to merge that M-performance driving idea and all of the fun of that with actually having a luxury backseat experience with the M-Lounge, which is why we're actually covering it on multiple cameras, because they really are trying to merge those two worlds in an SUV chassis, which means starting with what I would say is the wrong place to merge the two. So instead of doing the world's greatest sedan, let's take what would have been a 7-seater, make it a 5-seater with a lounge, all the M performance. It's like they took we'd like to have it all, please. And every department went, okay, how do we do that?
I like that segue because that's what happened to the styling. Everybody wanted everything. Give us all. It looks like everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
BMW says the concept behind the styling is smooth surfaces and sharp edges. And it doesn't appear that the design team really looked at it from a shape or a particular proportion first. They started with details and then built from there. Focus all around the car on small pieces of it to do different things, many of them which don't relate. Or
Never mind, that's fine.
20 people designed each element around the car, and that was their piece. The taillights, the headlights, the grille, the lower openings, the interior, same thing. The interior is actually a little bit more holistic than the exterior. But they came away with this initial something that you don't see it as a 1, 2, 3 read. You see it as a, whoa.
It's everything.
Everything is
everything
competing.
jumps. Yeah.
You don't see a proportion and then details like you do in a painting or a classic Ferrari. Here it's just all details. You see details everything first.
And it's screaming at you in black, too, by the way.
Which is not the color.
But this is the most subtle spec you can get this in. This was first launched with like the red label thing, which has red nostrils and a huge red, almost Nike swoosh down the side or in the side trim. It only gets more gaudy from here. I can't believe I'm saying that. This is the subtle one.
Paint color on top of the surfaces. But I actually really like the stacked exhausts. That's really cool.
That is cool. Yeah.
The 22s are optional, actually. You can get 23-inch wheels, 315 section, and as much power and as big a numbers as these are, the Mercedes is still more.
Which is crazy.
And this is still incredibly, blindingly fast. Walking around, I'm trying to find things that I like, and it comes down to particular details. Like, I like that little area. I like that little area.
Sure.
I like that little area. But then altogether, nothing really is harmonious here. But that's the fun, and that's the entertainment of owning this.
Interesting.
Because
okay.
people will wonder, like, what happened? Did it get in an accident before it left the dealership?
Is that the way it's supposed to look? Did something happen? Are you okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So therefore, it will engage people in conversation, especially when they get in. You feel these seats. BMW is the king. They're masters
so
at seats.
So good at seats.
And you see these bolsters, these side bolsters here. You've got the air bladders here.
Everything's adjustable.
You can adjust those bladders, and it'll do it with the sport settings too. I'm sure it's really comfortable back there.
It's very nice. Yes.
The seating position is great. Yes. And then this screen, it kind of freaked me out a little bit because this curved screen, it's not perfectly centered at the driver. It's sort of off camber. It's just a little bit of off kilt here. It's just sort of angled towards you with a screen. So directly in front of me, it's not perfectly flat and centered to me.
Yep.
I'm not perpendicular to it.
True.
You know what? Okay, there's a lot
works.
of creative things for your eye in here. And I actually do love being in here. And then I'll just wait for people to ask me about it. And then I'm entertained endlessly, and
I
that's
guess.
worth the purchase price.
Okay.
Right?
All I did not expect you to
want
land there.
people to ask about your car. And
Yeah.
sports cars,
Okay.
people are going to be like, some rich guy in a super expensive something, But this thing, people are like, what is that?
I have a story.
What happened?
When we swap, I actually have a story like that because I do appreciate what you're saying.
All right.
I think you like this more than me,
I
but I'm
do
excited
like it.
to drive it.
I do like it. I'm fascinated that I liked it.
Okay.
Because at first I saw this and I just immediately discounted it
Interesting. Okay.
based
Sure.
on the look. But
Sure.
BMW has put all of their M engineering
Yes,
into a
yes.
hybrid vehicle, plug-in hybrid. By the way, that battery takes 3.25 hours to charge, and it'll give you about 30 miles pure electric range.
It doesn't charge very fast. It's
No.
a 7 kilowatt charge speed, which means you cannot throw a big
not
heavy
very
duty
fast.
charger at it. It is designed to be essentially plugged into your house,
Mm-hmm.
your normal house plugs, and be done in about 3 hours, which is how people are going to use it.
That's
you know?
true. But they gave you a lovely bag to store your charge
It
cable
is
in.
honestly I thought the bag in the back is so nice. I thought it was either a giveaway, please say nice things about our car,
Oh,
bag to us,
really?
or somebody had left a bag in the back.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
It's a very nice piece of luggage, and I unzipped it and it was like, that's the bag for the charge
Back to your
cable?
charger. And it's on a little leash. It's
Yes.
so it can't roll around and fall out the back. It's like,
I mean, most manufacturers give you here's the charge cable wrapped in a plastic bag you tear
Yes.
open once. This is a nice bag.
This is like
you're gonna wanna
coach
take
luggage.
You're gonna want to take the bag and just use it as your bag and just put the cable wherever.
Leave
Yeah.
the cable in your garage.
Yes, for
and take
sure.
the
Now
bag.
look at the nice bag I got. I mean, it's that kind of
That might
nice.
be.
It's better than any piece of luggage I have. It holds the charge cable. Yeah.
I actually do like driving this. Look, steering wheel paddles, these are actual metal with a carbon fiber inlaid
Mm-hmm.
insert. The craftsmanship is very high, and it kind of makes you want to drive faster, and then you will drive faster, and you will get a speeding ticket because it's got so much power. Okay. So I should probably ride. I should probably
Yeah,
stop
you
driving.
can ride. You'll sit in the M lounge. You'll enjoy the lighting.
I love
in the
this.
M lounge. I know you do. I know you
There's
do.
no sunroof.
You're
I
not a
thought,
sunroof fan, and so this is the
No.
greatest thing ever. Yeah.
Let's not have a sunroof. Let's have this. This is very entertaining and nice to look at. Love this thing.
I will start with the styling, which is not my gift.
Okay.
But I will start with some styling thoughts, and I just there's a lot here. You already said it's everything, and I think that's a great assessment. It is
Great.
everything. The front end is really kind of horrifying.
It's aggressive.
Here's the big thing I've come away with though. Have you ever had this experience in life when you go to like a room full of people you don't know, and you see somebody across the room, like instantly see them, and then you go, wait, no, they're not attractive. That's this. It's striking. You can't
Yeah.
not notice. But the longer you
Yeah.
look, the more you go, I don't think that's working. And I've met people like that. You see random strangers like, oh my God, no. It's that.
Okay.
You know, it's striking but not attractive.
But this is if you own this is
Oh, yeah.
It's ugly and it's
Oh, yeah.
you're ugly.
There's the stripes going.
Oh,
Look at
yeah,
that.
it's so
No,
cool.
you have embraced the ugly. And to the other point you were making earlier, hang on, I have to talk about the gear selector as I use it because you know what it is? It's annoying. It's fiddly. Did I get it right, or did I accidentally put it in? If you accidentally put it in manual mode, which is possible,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you're hit against the rev limiter. Which, good news, BMW, give us the rev limiter, which is cool.
Sure.
But if you didn't do it intentionally, like why aren't you shifting? It's going. Wah, wah. Oh, I see.
Okay,
I
sure.
accidentally hit it the wrong way. You'll get used to it.
I
Of
think
course
you'll
you
get
will.
used to it,
Yeah,
and-
of
and
course
it'll
you will.
be, you know,
but it is
something
a
cool.
bit fiddly.
Yeah.
I was driving this through Salt Lake
Yeah.
on a family errand,
Okay.
and here came a guy
As one does.
on a big Harley.
Okay.
And he stopped, like right in my blind spot. And I was like, what's
I mean,
going on?
you guys were still
We're driving
rolling
along.
along.
We're still rolling along. He's driving in my blind spot. I'm like, what's going on? And then he rolled up perfectly beside me. Of course,
Okay.
this has got these big tinted windows. And he's staring at the XM. And then he gets just in front quarter panel, and he's looking back over his shoulder.
Seriously?
Really dangerous of driving along. And we're like, you can't figure this out. And that is the thing. BMW has somehow nailed a vehicle that cannot be categorized.
Yeah.
You look at it because you can't help yourself, but you're not sure it's attractive. That's a mix. It drives kind of like a sports car, but it is actually an SUV shape. That's a mix.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
think it's for the driver, but have you noticed the M Lounge in the back?
Exactly.
They put a list of everything all of their cars in the lineup should do on the wall. And then we're like, while we're at it, can we just build all of that in one vehicle?
I mean, they're becoming contrarians for sports car enthusiasts, and they still
Yes.
realize they have
Yes.
to build performance vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting to see what M has become versus, say, AMG.
Yes.
AMG is, of course, all about the power. They are a hammer to everything.
Yep.
And it's excellent, and I love AMG. But I'm starting to be intrigued with M, not the style per se, but how their approach to things, because the use of steel springs instead of air springs, that says they're still very much driving performance focused, even in a big, heavy thing like this. I mean, passengers are going to be thrown around. You don't want to ride back here. If somebody's getting after,
if somebody wants to drive really hard, that's not the best place to be. I
and
agree.
it feels like you can track it. And this thing has four-wheel steering.
Yeah,
I felt it because that back end was swimming at low speeds, and I was like, oh, I can feel that that rear end, that rear steering. BMW says it's designed specifically to keep it on track. Well, if you have the word track in your marketing materials, don't sit back here during that part.
No, don't, for sure.
You won't like things. But this is really great back here.
My wife and my mother-in-law couldn't get over it back there. They were like, can we just drive a little extra? And
seriously,
it's a decent place to drive. I agree with you in that a lot of the places with a luxury back seat, driving's not the point. Driving is still the point here.
Yeah.
And it has a luxury back seat. I think this is a success because of the experience for the people in the cabin. I think it is a bit of a rolling middle finger to the rest of the world.
Yes, it is.
I don't think it's attractive.
Agree.
I don't think you would look at it. This being the most subtle way you can get it. And I look at this and go, that's the subtle lineup? You really? I still struggle so much, and this is a great example, to wonder what is going on at BMW that they are approving the kind of styling they're approving. But I have to acknowledge, this turns heads. I don't know that it turns heads in good ways, but you go, what is that now?
Yes.
Think about this. This is not M's first all-electric vehicle. They didn't go EV, they went hybrid. So this is 30 miles worth of all-electric, which means for many of you, you could get all of your stuff done in all-electric mode,
actually
which is great. We actually don't even have any battery power right now. It's not like it got slower.
We haven't been plugging it in, mainly because I think both of us wanted to use the engine and hear the engine.
But
part of the experience.
The thing about these is they do always hang on to enough battery power so that all the power you want to use, I mean, Porsche does this, others do this, all the power you want is still available even when the battery doesn't have enough power to power it by itself. So this still has all of your power, which, by the way, is a lot. I'm literally about quarter throttle.
Oh, did you do the M2 button?
I did do the M2 button.
There we go.
But I'm about quarter throttle, and it really is like, where are we going? What are we doing? Brace yourself if you're going to do all of it. Really, you have to.
I need more of these seat cushions to brace myself.
Yeah, probably. They should have just given you like bubble wrap back there so we could throw you around. Yeah. I struggle with this at the price because I think I would get the Cayenne or one of the GLs from Mercedes. I think I would rather be in those. I would rather drive those.
I would too.
However, this has a personality, partially because of the styling and partially because of, if you will, dual purpose interior. Driving up front, relaxing in the back, that make you go, okay, maybe I do like that. Maybe that surprised me. I certainly have been surprised by this.
I was too. I mean,
and
it's kind of fun to look forward to driving this in a weird way, just for all of those things, for all of those reasons. BMW is now making very good conversation starters and really good conversation stoppers too.
Yes, it's a rolling conversation starter. It absolutely is, and it's also I'm just going to flip you off and drive away at a grumble. I mean, that's exactly what it does.
You know, when you've been to the dueling piano bars and somebody will put a 20 on top of the tip jar for somebody to start playing their favorite song, and somebody else comes up and says $20 to stop playing the song. It's like, here's $20, please stop sketching that thing.
Yes, for sure.
But it's interesting to drive. It's actually entertaining. It's so fast. The steering is better, I think, than many sports cars. It's artificial.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
But that BMW precision is certainly there.
The precision is definitely there, which is great. And BMW in general, I mean, this is a company who used to be lauded for their steering feel, and now their steering feel is mute, but it's very precise while being
precision
mute.
Because of the entire chassis. This thing is dialed, but it almost feels like if you're not on track, hustling this thing and making weird sounds and
yet
being excited and horrified and scared out of your life hustling a 6,000-pound SUV around a track, then it's not worth buying. I mean,
all right, a little bit of power, maybe a lot of power. You know what? All the power.
How about all the power? Oh, I'm getting the sound back here. That number lies.
Yes,
it's lying.
Agreed. I was genuinely driving this on the freeway in calm down mode, which I'll go back to calm down mode. I was driving it on the freeway at one point, and I said to my wife, how fast do you think we're going? And she said, I don't know, 75. 91 was the answer. And please,
she said,
she said, there's no way.
Yeah.
Please understand, this was not my, I'm being mischievous, which I do with my wife. It wasn't about I'm being mischievous, I'm going to go really fast and drive this car. I was just driving. And I looked down and I was like, there's no way. So I leaned over to her, I was like, what do you think? So it hides its speed when it wants, but it has an ability to just gather itself up and take off. That is that combination of that really good V8 and the hybrid system.
Yeah.
It is better to drive than it has any business being.
True.
It's better to be in than I ever thought. By looking at the exterior, I just thought, no. And then I got in and was like, you know what, in here, okay, good.
I love this thing and I
Yes.
hate it.
Okay.
I 100% love it and I 100% hate it. It is 200% whatever that is.
You have 200% feelings about the BMW
Yes,
XM. I like
200%
it.
of emotion.
200% of your
This
emotion
brings
is involved
emotion
here. Yes,
on,
it does.
on some part of the scale,
does,
which
yeah.
means it's going to be entertaining at all times. There you go.
It's absolute nuts, but I guess that's the point.
I love it for all of its craziness and for the fact that people will be like, what the hell did you buy?
Yes.
Why would you spend money on that thing?
Yes.
And I hate it because I spent money on that thing, but it's,
That conversation will happen. There will be people that will be like, how much did you pay? And you'll do it anyway.
but you'll
will.
drop the price to impress people. This cost $165,000 for my ugly. You can't afford ugly like I can afford ugly, baby.
I have so much money, I could buy things that are ugly.
Yes.
That's the rate I've reached.
That is so
I now
entertaining.
have ugly budget. That's what I
Yes.
have. Yes. The beaver teeth light up, just in case you didn't see
Yeah,
them.
they light up.
They light up too. That's happening.